This is part 3 of The Whingdingdilly by Bill Peet. "See what I mean?" said the little witch. "You're one whopping big surprise. Now I better skedaddle if I'm going to make cookies today." And Zildy scurried up the steps into the treehouse, leaving the Whingdingdilly wondering what he should do. Finally, he decided he'd better go home. Just as he started off, the witch called out the window, "Take care you don't step in my tulip beds with those big clumsy feet of yours." In the shadows of the sycamore were rows of bright yellow flowers. As he headed back through the trees, he was careful to step around them. I don't know, his eyes still look kind of sad. Making his way through the dense woods had been easy for the dog. But now it was almost impossible for the Whingdingdilly. It was a struggle every step of the way, with his antlers catching on tree limbs, the rhino horns hooking onto vines, the clumsy elephant's feet stumbling over logs, and the camel feet tripping over the elephant feet. The going was slow, and that was near sundown when he finally made it to the edge of the woods. As Scamp poked his head out through the trees, he surprised a sow and her 6 piglets. Squealing in terror, they went racing pell-mell away through the weeds. "What a fright I must be," thought Scamp. "I'm in no shape to be running around in plain sight. No telling what people might do." Then, stretching his long giraffe neck, he raised his head for a view of the countryside. As far as he could see, the fields were deserted, and so were the roads. The farmers had gone to dinner, so there was a good chance of getting home without being seen. As he lumbered out into the open road, he found the going much easier. It was just a matter of keeping the long striding camel legs from overrunning the plodding elephant legs, and he was clumping along at a pretty good clip when all at once he heard Orvy calling. "Here, Scamp! Here, Scamp! Here, Scamper boy!" He was coming up the road just over the next hill. If Orvy could come face to face with the Whingdingdilly, especially in the eerie light of evening, it might scare his scrawny little friend out of a year's growth. That wouldn't do. In one clumsy leap, Scamp was over a fence and went sprawling headlong into a wheat field. There he remained flat to the ground, scarcely breathing, and was still as a wheat shock. A wheat shock. That's a good question. That's a good thing to look up. When Orvy came to the top of the hill, he stopped for one last call, such a long, loud, "Here, Scamper!" that it echoed for a mile across the countryside. Then he listened for an answering bark. But there was only the faraway crowing of a rooster. Where could it be, wondered Orvy as he turned and headed back down the road. Scamp raised his head to watch until the boy was no more than a speck in the distance. Then, with an effort, he hauled himself to his feet and hobbled over the fence and back onto the road. By this time, he was getting leg-weary, and he went plodding along ever so slowly. It was growing dark when he finally reached the Jarvis farm. Cautiously, he pushed open the gate, tiptoed across the yard to the house, and peeked into the kitchen window. The family had just finished dinner, everyone but Orvy, who sat at the table, staring at his plate. "Scamp's always home at dinner time," said the boy. "Something's happened to him, or he'd be here." "If old Scamp's really gone for good," said his father, "then I'll tell you what. Armstrongs have a new colt, and if they'll sell him, he's all yours. How would you like that, son?" What's a colt? And what did Scamp want to be more than anything? So we're seeing right here that Orvy is being offered the opportunity to have a horse. This might be just eating Scampy up on the inside if he hears that Orvy could have a horse, something that Scamp always wanted to be. I wonder what's going to happen next.